Alright, Neuron, here is your past life. So, what we're going to do is we're going to look and see where we were, what you did with the majority of your time, an important day, another important day, how you died, and the lesson learned. And we're going to see the time as we move throughout this. Let me just say right away, this is a very strong person that comes through, very masculine, male, and so we'll go from there. Alright, so here we have the European card. This is European, and so what I'm getting, honestly, this is, right here is the leader card too. And it was almost jumping out at me, where I want to say like a Roman general, like back in the day, Rome, like ancient Rome, Roman general. Very strong presence, a very strong presence with a little bit of compassion. Not something you would find really in a general. It's almost like, I don't know what period of time this is. Old times. This is when they're wearing those helmets with the thing on top. Like I'm seeing him full dress garb, kind of. So it's like what I'm seeing is like a goldish kind of looking helmet, or a like a metallic-y kind of helmet with this thing on the head that goes down the middle over the helmet. I don't know if it's for intimidation purposes or just like to show recognition of his where he stands in the army or in the military. But this guy is very intimidating. He's very sure of himself, and he is like large and in charge. And he's also someone that people can rely on. Very reliable character, okay? So let's go to your first important day. Alright, so what do we see here? Okay, so what we have here is, this is the Mother Nature card. This is when something happens that is out of one's control, out of their usual control. It's usually something like, a tornado, a hurricane, a tsunami, whatever that is, or an earthquake. So what I'm seeing here is something wipes out a lot of people. So something is taking away a lot of... I want to say like the land is wrecked. The land is being wrecked by something. A lot of jarring, almost like earthquake. Almost like an earthquake. Maybe it is an earthquake. I don't know what else would make that kind of... Something is very unstable. Something makes something collapse. And it's almost like there's confusion, because it's almost like as though, let's say you're at the base of a mountain in the valley, and the mountain has boulders on it, and the boulders come and fall and cave in the valley and crush the valley in a way. Something is like coming from up to down and ruining what is down there. And it's almost like there's confusion, because this is almost like an army tactic where the bad guys or another army would push the boulders to harm the villagers in a way, or it could be an earthquake, such a rumbling that it moves the rocks and boulders itself. So at first I feel like there is confusion, because you're not sure whether, it's almost like you're not sure whether to go, when you hear of what's happening, whether to take your men in and ready for an attack, or whether you're going in to save people from this natural disaster, right? Okay, so that's what's happening, is we're kind of in a confused state of mind, and this day is very confusing. And what happens is you go in, and this is the relationship card is the child card, and this is the feeling associated with it. And just keep in mind during this reading that you're to make connections with your current life to this life. Anything really. So even if you have a interest in ancient Rome or those ancient kind of cultures, if that's an interest to you, keep that in mind. Any connections you can make. So it can also be your personality. So for example, in this life, you could, in your current life, you could be a very strong person. You can be very strong to the point of where people might be intimidated by you if they didn't know you, because your personality might be that strong. On the other hand, you could be someone who's actually very gentle and kind, because it's in opposition to what we're seeing here. So just keep in mind how you can make those connections. Now, back to this day, it's really interesting because what I'm seeing is that you ride in with your guys, you end up taking a small unit because you're very strategic. You're very in the know of your enemies, how they work, what to expect. So you decide, you say, you know what, this is a natural disaster. Let's send in a small unit to help the people, to get them out. This isn't going to be a war. This is going to be a retrieval mission. So you go in, and what I'm seeing is that it's so in ruin. It is completely in ruin. It's almost like, I don't know how there can be that many rocks or boulders to hurt so many people. It could have been that it happened at night and so people were sleeping. It could have been even where it's like I don't know what might flow in, because I don't want to say volcano with lava, but maybe even like a mudslide, something that just covers it. So it could be boulders, it could be a mudslide, something shakes something loose and things flow, put it that way. And so what they do retrieve is this child. They actually do retrieve a child that makes an impression on you. And I want to say that you actually take this child under your wing, which is it's really not what people expect you to do. It's not really what you expect to do. You surprise yourself. And in your current life, you may do actions that surprise yourself. And that's a good thing. And you take this child and you take it to raise it on your own, even though you don't have a lot of time. I see you kind of passing the child to, I want to say like your sister at the time. Like here you have I want to say you have a sister, and so this child is being like raised kind of by your aunt, but it's yours. And the horror card just comes in with, it's like when you take this child, it's almost like when you see this child, something clicks, and it's almost like you feel how a parent would feel at the loss of the family unit for this child. Like this is a day when you feel this deep compassion, you feel this deep feeling of like maternal kind of thing that you never expected coming, because you're this dude here, you're a dude, and here your heart is like, so this is a big day for your heart, for your soul. This is where you kind of go up a level in your soul when you feel this kind of this love for this helpless creature. All right, so that's an intense feeling. Here we come to the second day. So what's happening here? This is a day that is really about, this is years later, and it is about you. This is about you. This is a conquering day. This is a day when you secure your reputation forever on this day. This is a moment of achievement. It's like you saved a lot of lives, and you also got a lot of people killed, because this is almost like a battle, but it's almost like your people were going to be under siege, and you are so smart and so strategic and so on top of your game, even at this age, because I want to say you're at the end of your military career. This is where you bow out afterwards. You bow out with medals and gold, and you do a beautiful job. You save all your people. Not one of your people perishes. I'm not talking about the military men, because they have to fight, but I'm talking about the people that rely on you to keep them safe. You do your job this day. This day marks the day, like whoever you were here, you could be in the history books now for this battle, for saving this large city, because this is a large city. This is a major city. I want to say it's a major city wherever you are. It could be Rome itself, but you're not Caesar. You're a general, a captain. You might be a captain under Caesar. You might be one of his generals, honestly. This is a big deal, and you're a big deal. And you also are, what's it called? You're egged on, I guess, to do such a good job, because this child is now, I want to say, a young person. And I can't tell if it's a girl or boy, because I see short hair, kind of, but I can't tell if it's masculine or feminine short, even though I know women probably grew their hair out at this time. I see like kind of a balance of masculine and feminine energy with this child, so I can't really tell what it is. but I do know that it is greatly loved, and you greatly love the child, and the child's old enough to really understand and appreciate and see their dad kick some butt, you know? And so this day, so the relationship involved is a karmic relationship, and there's pride. And this karmic relationship is almost like it's not with somebody human in this place. It's like with your own soul and your own oversoul. You're accomplishing what you had signed up to do in this life, and you hit it. You got it. Like, you hit it with the nail on the head. You did your job. And your soul, it's almost like on a soul level, you feel the accomplishment. And that's kind of what allows you to bow out. You're like, okay, everyone's safe, good. I have someone I can turn my reign over to, and I'm going to go ahead and just be with my family and live out my days. And this is a beautiful day. This is like a graduation day for your soul. This is wonderful. Both of these are like graduations for your soul. You grow a lot in this life. It's a big deal. So let's go over to the death. Now this is interesting. This is the disease and illness card. And it's not to say that you weren't plotted against. People did try to kill you during your life, but they didn't get to you. This disease, I feel like this disease started in the joints. It started in the joints. It started with stiffness. It started with waking up and not being able to like bend your stuff very easily, if that makes sense. And so your days start to become more like, I guess, painful. Like there's like, oh man, almost like something in the bones. I want to say something in the bones affected you. And I don't know if it's bone cancer or bone something where the bone splinters or the bones become, what's the word? Not soft, but like brittle. Bones becoming brittle. So what this does to you is it eventually, I want to say like something interior happens with your bones and your joints and your muscle, like the insides just kind of start to become brittle, atrophied, and just they don't do very well. Like today, there are things you can have done for this, you know, and so in this life, this happened much later on too. So like in your current life, if you are having any stiffness of joints sometimes for no reason, if you're feeling achy inside for no reason, if certain activities bother you, activities where you have to use your body to be a certain way, like maybe even certain dancing or certain like yoga or Pilates that would be easy for other people might kind of irritate you. It could be stemming from this, but also you might not be feeling anything. But just keep in mind, later on in life, if you aren't at that stage already, later on in life, if that's what you're starting to feel, sometimes we are triggered by past life ailments at the time that we felt them in that life. So if he's feeling them at age 60 and you're not 60 years old in this current life yet, when you get to be 60 and you start feeling certain things that sound like this, like bone issues, that could be from this life. So I don't even know if you could get it checked out now if you're not that age yet to see like blood tests or whatever. I don't know if you can even do that. But just keep that in mind. Nothing to worry about, but just something to keep in mind. All right? Okay, so the lesson was really learned. This lesson was learned to the max, and this is the lesson of experience. And not only were you an experienced general and an experienced man of culture, you knew the lay of your land, you knew the culture, your people, you got along so well, so sociable. You also experienced these massive changes while able to maintain who you were. You were able to maintain this manly man persona, this leading general army guy, but also you were able to open your heart and feel love and compassion for a child. And you also had good relationships with your family, your sister. You were able to do so much. You did so much for your people. You didn't fight for you. You fought for your people, for your duty. You were very duty driven. It was a beautiful thing. People can rely on you. You experienced life to the max. Even experiencing some aches and pains is experience. And you didn't mind it. It was just part of the experience. And you really knew that and you allowed it. And so you really learned this lesson in this life. So this was a very strong, amazing, beautiful life for you to see, and I'm really happy to have read you. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed your reading.